God. Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Everybody in classroom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Everybody online. Shalom. We back at it again. Another Sabbath service, giving our honor and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashema Mashiach Malak Yahushai. Double honors to the elect elders of House of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Yahushai. A hearty shalom to the mighty men of the Lord that go out and labor on the highways and byways, risking their lives to magnify Yahweh Ba'ashema Yahushai in the last days. Shalom to all of the Akwaf out there as well, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent. And shalom to the sisters and everybody tuning in. Shalom, shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, all praise to the Most High for another Sabbath service. It's a beautiful thing that the Lord showed us mercy to be able to come and get more edification and more understanding in these last days. As we always start off, we're going to start off with Acts chapter 18 and verse 4.
God. It's the book of Acts, chapter 18 and verse 4. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
God, another Sabbath service to persuade Israel, who knows that the Israel to continue to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, keep the faith, magnify the name of the Lord, the brotherly love, right, the charity, the alms, right, doing all things holy in the sight of the Lord. And those just finding out that the Israel to come back to serving our God, Yahweh Yahushai, find out if the words that were spoken to you are true, search the scriptures daily to give edification through the Spirit of the Lord, right? And the only way we can do that is through Philippians.
And it's the book of Philippians, chapter 4 and verse 13, right? Philippians chapter 4 and 13. I can do all things through the Mashiach, which strengtheneth me.
Right, through the Spirit of Yahweh Yahushua, we're able to cast down the false doctrine, get the proper understanding by going precept upon precept, right? And we're able to cast that old man back into the grave and be renewed, right? Through the mercy of Yahweh Yahushua, for giving us his only begotten Son, that we may come back to the fold, right? And be forgiven of our transgressions, right? So we're in 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, right? This is the last installment of the series of Peter, right? And all praise to the Most High that the channel is back up.
Right.
Right, it's been down for a minute. So, right, more edification can come, Lord willing. Right, Israel gets edified in these last days. Right, so this is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure mindedness by way of remembrance.
Right, so this is Peter stirring up the minds of the Israelite foreigners to remember their nationality, to remember their faith in the Most High, right? Because there was a time when they once knew this, right? If Peter wouldn't say, I'm here to stir up your mind to remember who you are if you never knew in time past. So these same spirits that Peter's addressing, there was a time when they walked the earth, when they were in Mashiach Yahushua, right? Just like us. All of these epistles, it's not new information to you. All the breakdowns and the understanding who the Lord is, it's reminding you of what you once knew in time past. Because all of us walk with Yahushua back in the ancient times, man. If you're in the truth right now, you were in the truth when the Lord walked the scene, man. You were the one pressing them out to hear the parables. You were the ones getting fed with the 2 loaves and the 5 fishes, right? You were the ones when the Lord preached the Sermon on the Mount, those words entered into your ears and you believed. Right? We're those same spirits, if we endure this thing, that we're with the Lord, man. And we're constantly being reminded about the knowledge that was taken from us during the time when we fell asleep. Right? I got a precept back.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7, where it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Ask thy elders, and they will tell thee. Right? So we got to consider, right, and remember the days of old. And the only way we can do that is by visiting our elders and our fathers, which are these scriptures, right? They wrote these aforetime for our learning, so we can have understanding, so that we can, through these scriptures in these last days, know how to move according to the times, right? How to build up our faith, right? How to truly serve the Lord, right? So we got to remember these days of old, man, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun. As was before, so is today. Right, the same thing our forefathers went through is the same thing that we're going to have to go through.
That's right. And I want to get this in 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 28. I'm going to read 28. Right? So Peter is reminding the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad about certain charges and commandments and admonitions that they have to receive, that they received back in the day. Right? But this is 2nd Ezra 7 to 28. It reads, For my son Yahweh shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. Right? So this is around 400 years after the time of Ezra, Yahweh will come on the scene. Right? Ezra is on the earth around, we'll get the date 445 BC. Right? 457, 445 BC, around that time. It reads, And the world shall be turned into the old silence 7 days, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. So prior to Yahweh Shah coming on the scene, the world, really going to the world of Israel, was turned into silence, right, for 7 days. Is that literally 7 days? No. Meaning for a certain period of time, we were without the true light. We were without Yahweh Shah, right? Reading on. And after 7 days, the world that yet awakened not shall be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence. And the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. And that's dealing with us in the last days. Right? We're being resurrected in the last days, being reminded by our forefathers and through this Bible who we are as a people, how to serve the Most High, who Yahweh Shai is. We're being raised up after those 7 days. So you're in the time of the 8th day, the 9th day, the 10th day. You understand? Right? So this is what the Lord is speaking about in 2 Peter chapter 3. And that's what we do when we go out there in the highways and byways. We stir up our people's minds to remember. That's when you breaking stuff down to the part of elect. It just makes sense to them. They just get it, man. Oh man, something sounds familiar, man. It's like a song that you've heard back in the day, and you heard it again, and somehow you know all the lyrics. Songs like that come up. You hear a song from 20 years ago, and you know the lyrics back then, and then you hear it in 2021, it's like you can't skip a beat, man. You know every word, every verse, you know the hook, you know the bridge. And that's how it is with this truth, man. This was a song that was played to you 2,000 years ago, and now the Lord got it on repeat, man. You know?
Verse 2 in 2 Peter 3, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. Knowing this,
quick point. And it shows you that you have to read the Old Testament. It tells you that you have to be mindful of what's written in the Old Testament. You got these Christians saying that, well, just got to stick to the book of Matthew through Revelation. Well, that's not what the Lord is saying right here. It says you literally have to be mindful of the words spoken by Jeremiah. And you got to read. How are you going to be mindful of something if it's done away with? It would be a contradiction. Right? You have to be mindful of Isaiah, be mindful of Deuteronomy, be mindful of the law and Leviticus, man. Right? So don't let these Christians sit there and try to warp your mind and make you believe that the Old Testament is done away with, and they want to go to the epistles. And Peter's just saying, be mindful of the words that were spoken to you by the prophets, man. Right? Just want to make that quick point.
knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Right. Now, you got a Bible dictionary, right? Anybody? Can we see if the word scoffers in there? We're going to see it. Everybody knows what a scoffer is. And I never heard the word scoffer until I came into the truth, man. Right? People's probably scoffing at you in real life. You didn't know what it was, man. Right? But the Lord called it scoffing, right? We're going to see if the definition, or if a brother could pull up the definition, if we can get the word scoffing. Right? We know what it is. We experience it almost every camp, man. You got high-level scoffers. You got low-level scoffers, man. And those are the men that say the Bible's not real. That's a white man's book. That book can't be true.
Right from the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Scoff, to mock or deride. Scoffer, one who scoffs or mocks. One playing with trials, hence one who derides mocks.
You see that? Basically, a scoffer is you mocking the Most High, man. You're not just mocking men. When scoffers come up and they want to sit there and provoke you, and they have no concrete point, they just want to rail against the Bible. And we hear the same arguments. That's a white man's book. Who wrote that book? That's how you know somebody about to scoff. So they say, who wrote that book? Right? You already know where it's going. Right? Or they may say, what else do these scoffers like to say? What version is that? The King James? The King James? You about to say something, brother? Yeah, that's not the original Bible. It's been tampered with. What you got, Elder? That's a white man's book. King James is a homosexual, right? We the original, man. You got to put that book down. It's been rewritten 100 times. These are scoffing points, man. You already know where it's coming. Like with me and Amos talking about, we dealt with a brother earlier this week in Houston, scoffing. Came up, I just want to learn. That's how you know somebody about to scoff too. He come up crouching, sitting there like this. I just want to learn. Right? And within an hour, he confessed that he a homosexual scoffer. Huh? Right? That's what at the end, that's what came up. He opened his shirt in front of men and he confessed that he a homosexual. Right? He started off, I just want to learn. And then he started scoffing the whole time. We have scoffers, and it's not just our WFI, other scoffers, they're known by name. They get so bad, we have one called the sex demon. Right? We got the whistle demon.
Oh yeah, he came out yesterday.
We got a whistle demon now. Yeah, we got Kobe Bryant scoffer. Drink the water.
Yeah, the dude was playing in the water.
Oh yeah, playing the water scoffer. Who's the whistle demon?
He was whistling mad loud.
And he dipped it in the water.
I didn't think nobody ever seen that.
You see that? You see that? You got these scoffers out here.
We got the one, the false prophet demon with the locks. Where he said Donald Trump was going to die July 24th, 2019.
Yep. You got the one that harassed HOIDC, the little Muslim drunk guy, right? The little Muslim scoffer. So, and guess who created them? The Lord created them, huh? They were strictly born and raised. They went through school. They had to take their little tests. Right? They went on their field trips. All that stuff they matter. They was created just to scoff and be destroyed. I don't care what kind of job they got, what income they got. They was created just to come against the truth, just to be destroyed. Right? That's a heavy lot to live, man. Right?
God, it's funny because I did a cold cut talking about the good things about false prophets. Right, the good things about false prophets is that you know who the real men of the Lord are. Right, you can identify the fake from the real. Right, this is 1 John chapter 4 and verse 2. Hereby know ye the spirit of Yahweh. Every spirit that confesses that Yahweh Shah Mashiach is coming in the flesh is of Yahweh. Right, that's a spiritual thing, man. People don't realize how spiritual it is to be able to confess the Lord, man. Right, only the Most High can give you that spirit, man. Right? People wake up every day, I believe in Jesus. Well, that Jesus you believe in was a homosexual.
Right.
Right? That white man with the long hair. But if you confess the name Yahweh Shai, right? That's a whole different spirit that comes with it. Right? And every spirit that confesses not that Yahweh Shai Mashiach is coming in the flesh is not of Yahweh. And this is the spirit of antichrist, whereof you have heard that it shall come, and even now already is it in the world. So this was thousands of years ago. You already had the spirit of antichrist walking around. And you got that spirit today, right? Those who deny the Lord by their actions, those who deny the Lord by their lips, right? It's all the spirit of antichrist. And there's many antichrists. It ain't just one. It ain't two. It's hundreds of thousands. Everybody who's not making it is pretty much the spirit of the antichrist, man. Because you're going against Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah.
It's Jude 1 and 17. That's right. Jude 1 and 17. I'll start at 16. Right? So you're going to have, like the brother said, you're going to have men of the Lord. You're going to have men of the Lord on the left-hand side. You have to have a just balance, man. That's the application of the law. Jude 1 and 16. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words. Like you got the man in Houston say, I'm gonna get 40 men off the 40 men right now, they're gonna run you off the block. They were told the man to do it, he pick up the phone, and then he's talking to look, that's all. That's all. Y'all That's walking after your own lust, speaking great swelling words. You got people saying they're gonna kill us. Then we had that Eve. It was like 2017. She said, I'm gonna go get a whole bunch of dudes, and they're gonna shoot y'all up. Then we had brothers left. All right, brothers left the camp after that, huh? Right? They left in the middle of camp. Right? After people speak the great swelling words, you got a point, King?
You also had that one scoffer to the ball and scoffer with the glasses, he's gonna go to the scar, come back to the strap.
Yeah. He said he's gonna go to his car and grab that, huh? Do they ever come back? Oh, they go on and get a McDouble, right? They get a Sprite, and they man, they go to sleep. They don't never really do these things, man. Right? It's like, let me finish this real quick. Verse 17. But beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before of the apostles of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time, who shall walk after their own ungodly lust. And when they scoffing, they just want to walk after their own lust. They don't really want to learn. Even if you sat there and tried to break it down to them, they're not going to get it, man. Right? They're not created to get it. Stop thinking everybody's going to get it, man. And you could just turn the scoffer around and bring them back to the Lord. Sometimes a scoffer, you could cut them and humble them down through the Spirit. Sometimes they just want to scoff. You might have to ignore them. You got to talk over them, right? It reads, these be they who separate themselves sensual, having not the Spirit. What's another word for being sensual? What's the biblical word we're looking for? By a show of hands. These scoffers are sensual, having not the Spirit. Carnal, right? These are carnally minded men, not having a spirit. If you're not a spiritual man, you're a carnal man. There ain't no in between. That's why scoffers, they foaming at the mouth, they raging, they busting the blood vessel. You understand? They threatening you. Remember, we had the brother. He said F Islam, and then the scoffer. He tried. Remember the big Muslim dude, like 2018, and then all hell was broke loose, man. You had the dude named the gunplay dude, right? Remember you had the red jumpsuit on. We had all types of scoffers, man. Through the spirit and power of the Lord, man.
The dude who got killed. Hammer.
Yeah, Hammer. Hammer got killed in Baltimore. Brothers probably don't remember Hammer. He was in an old video throwing up money dancing, man. Right? Doing the damn what was that? He was doing the damn Chicago Shuffle or something like that. Yeah, he was doing something crazy, and then he got shot, man. Amos did a cold cut on him. So these are carnally minded men. They might say you broke, you don't have no money. You should come up and say your shoes dirty and just walk away. Right? He'll get out and say, I can't wait to tell you your outfit dingy. And then he'll leave, man. He might throw money at you. So these are scoffers. Right?
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, and verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. Right? That's a long list of what a scoffer really is, man. Right. They boast about what they have. Right? They'll be lovers of their own selves. Right? I am a God. I am God. God is within me. Right? They start talking that universe spirit, whatever they be talking. Right? Man, scoffers everywhere, man. Different spirits of scoffs. Right? Covetous. Right? They really want to get the information and the knowledge that we have. That's why they come up to hear it. Right? But they can't obtain it, man, because the Lord blinded them. Right? They blinded them from getting an understanding. Right? Proud. Only a proud man will speak against the Lord. Right? That's a real heinous action to speak against the Lord. Right? Blasphemers. Right? Lying on the scripture, saying and say this. Right? They always say it's a couple reasons why I don't believe with agree with the Bible. We be like, all right, name one. They'll never have one they can name. Right? What disobedient to parents? And the Most High is our parent. He's our Father. Right? Disobedient to the Most High in every action being abominable, man. Unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Right? Everything listed is a grade A scoffer, man. And there's levels of scoffers, man. Like there's levels of demons, man. Right? Let me get one more. This is Matthew chapter 12. Where I want to start at? I'm going to start at verse 36, right? It says, but I say to you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Right? So every scoffer has his day. Right? How they say every dog has his day, every scoffer has his day, man. Every scoffer going to have to answer for speaking up against the words of the Lord, man. Right? Don't let scoffers bend you out of shape, man. You're going to have scoffers in your family, at your job.
Right.
Man, it is what it is, man. Let them speak what they got to speak because they got to give account to it. That's that James 3:6 spirit, man. Right? That tongue, it kindles a fire, man. No man's going to put out that fire that the Lord going to put on these scoffers, man. Right? Israel, stay temperate, man. Right? Practice patience. Let patience possess your soul when you're dealing with a scoffer, man. No need to want to fight. No need to get out the spirit, man. Let them say their piece and let the edification continue.
Yeah, and it's not you. And a lot of brothers get mad at the scoffers. Look, we really don't get mad at the scoffers, man. Right? We might, our spirit might be vexed, but we're dealing with demons, man. And you gotta look at it like, oh, it's just a demon. All right, level 3 demon, level 5 demon. That's why we label it, man. Right? Is that, you got something?
Let's go to Romans chapter 9 and verse 19. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, man, that we label these through the spirit, the different level demons. And that's biblical. You had a man named Legion, right? How many soldiers are in the Roman Legion? Anywhere between 6,000 to 7,200. So Legion had over 6,000 demons on it, right? And that's a level 10 demon. One of the demons might have been effeminate, right? Murderer, envious, homosexual, right? All types of spirits on him, man. Rage. Then you got lower level demons. And they're sent by the Most High. They don't just walk up on their own. The Most High sends those scoffers up just so they can be marked and put to death in the day of judgment.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 19. We started 18. Therefore he had mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he harden. Right? Some of us in this room were scoffers, man. Some of us were scoffers before we came into this truth. You don't got to admit it or raise your hand, but some of us were, man. I know when I was younger, I gainsayed against the Bible and I never read it. Right? That's mercy right there from the Lord. Right? Verse 20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that replies against Yahweh? Right? Who was I to even speak up on something I didn't even know? Right? When you was in Christianity, you didn't understand a damn thing in this Bible, man. Right? But you always had something to say. Right? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, what hast thou made me thus? Right? Those are the scoffers, man. Right? We had a scoffer one time, you probably don't remember it. Oh, I got on my thing. Matter of fact, the scoffer, the sex demon.
Yes.
Brothers probably don't remember the sex demon. I got it on here. I'm gonna play it. He said
Charles Nelson.
Charles Mother effing Nelson.
Right.
That's his name.
Or Pookie.
Where's it at? Salaki, let me find it. I'm gonna find this thing.
All right, let me read this real quick. Let's go to Acts 17 to 30. Let's go to verse 32. Are you going to finish that?
21 to 22.
All right, Salaki. We're gonna finish Romans 9, and then we're gonna find that clip, and then we're gonna go to Acts chapter 17. All right, so this is Romans chapter 9 to 21. Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Now we know that this is dealing with Esau and Jacob, but everybody's clay formed out of the dust of the ground. And either you are a vessel unto honor, meaning the Most High created you to believe in His truth and be sanctified, or you a man that's created to be dishonored. You have been literally created to be dishonored, not only by the men of the Lord, but be dishonored by Yahweh Basham Shah, man. Can they change that? No. Can a piece of pot or pottery that you've made to be destroyed, let's say you get paid every 2 weeks, you want to destroy this piece of pottery on next Friday. Can that piece of pottery, kind of run away and say, no, just chill out, hang out, put that hammer down, right? And then you kind of listen and say, all right, well. No, it don't work like that, man. Right? You can destroy that pot anytime. You could break it, kind of kick it around, right? It's created to be destroyed. So these are these scoffers, man. They fill themselves with these philosophies and false arguments and semantics, and the Lord give them all that understanding on the left-hand side just so they can't be destroyed. The Lord is not going to destroy man without cause. He said he hath no pleasure in the death of the wicked, man. So there has to be a reason for man to die. Certain men are going to be murderers. Certain men are going to be homosexuals. Certain men are going to be scoffers. That's the way that they're going to go out. And it is what it is. Right? I'm going to read 22. So what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory, or the vessels of mercy, whom he had afore prepared unto glory. And who are the vessels of mercy? Jacob. The elect of Jacob is the vessels of mercy. Were that vase or that pottery created to be exalted? You understand? To be magnified. Right? That's what a servant to the Lord are going to be increased and increased and more until Yahweh returns. So the Lord says he's willing to show his wrath, and the Most High is enduring much long suffering. And that guy in Houston said, he literally said, Yahweh put me to death tonight. He said tonight. We had a scoffer.
The God demon.
Yeah, the God. Yeah, that's the spirit. We was teaching in front of Food Depot, and we had a so-called Gothic Jake. And with one hand, I was talking to Yardan last night about it, right? And with one hand, he grabbed his junk, and with his other hand, he took his finger and he was shaking himself and put his finger up to the Most High, right? And scoffing against the Lord with his middle finger up, man, grabbing himself to the Lord to do things to him, man. Right? Who did that? The Lord, because they made him do that, man. Just so he can be put, and then he started playing that Gothic music. That was like a level 12 demon. We had the demon that came up to you and said, give me your soul. Remember him? The Michael Jackson scoff. Yeah. Right? The Michael Jackson demon.
Your soul is mine.
Yeah, he told Amos, he said, your soul is mine.
Hey.
Right? The Lord did that. The Lord sent these spirits up. He held the fist of his right hand, his left hand up to heaven. Then he reached to Amos with his left hand and said, your soul is mine. So we had to kind of get him out of there, man. Right? Hey, this is real life, man. These things happen, huh? You never know what you get on the highways and byways. It's like a real quick point. So these scoffers are the vessel fitted for destruction. All right? Really it's going to Esau, but we're applying it to 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter.
So this the sex demon right here. Right? This was 2019. Right? This is what he said.
After Gary, when I say about fuck, that's my demon. I really am. So you're right. You're right. But I can't stop. That's why I gotta take it to my God. I'm 46. I believe I'm raised to 53. I've lost umpteen some of my folks and shit. Oh, right away. But guess what? You still are not, because the Most High sent me to fuck with y'all after
that. He said the Most High sent me to F with y'all, and my demon has a name. Right? His demon name is Effer, and the Most High sent him to F with us, man, and scoff. The Lord did that, man. He came up a few times. And these demons know, right? Let me get this precept real quick in Acts chapter 17. That's heavy right there. This is real life, man. We're not out there playing games, man. This is spiritual warfare. Say that in Ephesians chapter 6, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spirits, man. I'm paraphrasing it. So this Acts chapter 17 to 31. It reads, because he hath appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he hath ordained, whereof he hath given assurance unto all men, and that he raised him from the dead. And when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again of this matter. So Paul departed from among them. So you had scoffers that was railing on Paul, man. When Paul was teaching the resurrection of the dead, and that's what we teach. We teach the resurrection of the dead. We teach that Yahweh is returning. He's waking up the children of Israel. And judgment day, the elect are going to be beamed up in the chariots. That's what Paul was teaching, the resurrection of the dead. What happened back then? You had the same scoffers mocking, right? Did they just vanish off the face of the earth? No, they're back here again, huh? The same spirits that went up against the apostles, Peter's reminding us that they're going to come back on the earth, right? And do the same thing they've always been doing. You got something else?
Back to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 4. It's verse 5. Come, 4. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Yeah, you know what that is? When we say it's the end of the world, they say, well, we've been hearing that forever. My grandmother's been saying that, man. We see all hell about to break. Y'all been saying that for years, man. Where's Jesus at? That's what they be saying. Tell him strike me down, right? Tell him put me to death at night. And he said it 7 times, right? Tell him to kill me right now, right? They say, well, everything has been rolling like it has been from the beginning of the creation. You keep talking about the end of the world, ain't nothing changed. That's what Peter's letting you know. He's telling you verbatim what these scoffers are saying. He says, since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation, right? Meaning nothing has changed, right? And it's like they have a point. Nothing has changed, but they don't understand that there's a set day coming when all hell is going to break loose, man. And those scoffers going to eat up their words, man. They're going to look at the men of the Lord, pursue the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and 1 on down, and say, this is he whom we had a derision, a proverb of reproach. They might be even scoffing to Yahweh shall return. That ain't real, man. The damn lasers and missiles fall. I don't believe that, man. Still scoffing, man. Man, forget the Most High. Right? They see buildings exploding to their left and right. Man, get out of here, Lord. Till they be destroyed, man. In the spirit world, still scoffing. What the hell is this, man? Was this supposed to be the third heaven or what? Right? People still gonna be scoffing in the third heaven, man. Who's just sitting on this damn throne? Right? Send me back to earth so I can scoff. So you have these demons created.
For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Yahweh the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished.
Right. What is that saying? You willingly ignorant, because you know what happened during the time of Noah. You know what happened, man. You're willingly what? Not applying the knowledge of what happened in the ancient times. In order for you gotta be willingly ignorant, man. Because the Lord destroyed the whole earth with a flood, man. Those same men that scoffed against Noah, then the Lord destroyed them. If you decide to do that again, you're willingly ignorant. Right? If you want to play in traffic and rush hour, that's being willingly ignorant, man. You know people get hit by cars, man. Right? You're being willingly ignorant. So this is what happened during the time of Noah. Let me get that real quick and you got something?
Matthew 24.
All right, let's get it.
Because this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no not the angels of heaven, but the Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also is the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days of Noah that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Right, so like the days of Noah, man, everybody turning up, drinking wine, continuing in all their fornication, folly, and lust. It's the same thing that's going on here in Babylon the Great, man. On a greater extent, probably. Right, the same things that was happening is happening in this day. Right, and they willingly ignorant, meaning, yeah, we don't want to know. We don't want to know how we're going to die. Right. We don't want to know how the Lord's coming back. Right, only a fool wouldn't want to know how to prevent death and destruction.
Yeah, quick point. They always say, I don't want to hear it out that book. I want to hear you.
Right.
I want to hear what you got to say. Close that book. We don't need that book. Right? That's what the brother's saying.
God. Verse now close it. But yeah, pretty much, man, as in the days of Noah, same people who was walking during the times of Noah is probably the same people walking today, man. Right. The spirits just come back over and over. The third and fourth generations come back, man. So brothers got to remember to be mindful, ask the Lord not to take his Holy Spirit from you. Because the Holy Spirit is the only thing that's keeping you sane in these last days, man. Right? That's the Lord that's keeping y'all sane. Because if we wasn't in this truth, we're insane. Right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and what? Expecting a different outcome. Right? That's what people in the world doing. The same dumb SHIT, expecting something to change. Right? But when you come in this truth, you change and you know it's for the better. What's that? The quid pro quo. Right? We do this because we want something in return. We keep the faith because we want something in return. Right? Not being what's the word I'm looking for? Not being covetous of it, but we do it because we know it's a reward for our actions, man. Right? You're not gonna work out saying I want a six-pack, and then you get mad when you get the six-pack. Right. We're not keeping these commandments, showing brotherly love and keeping the faith, and get mad when we get the kingdom. We're gonna rejoice. Right? So don't be willingly ignorant of the judgments that's gonna come.
That's right. That's why you have to read. The Lord said in Romans chapter 15 and 4, and whatsoever things were written aforetime are written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So if you want to figure out how to, if you believe in these scoffers and want to figure out how the Most High is going to judge the earth, read the prophecies, man. See what happened, man. It's impossible to scoff when you believe in this truth, man. Because you fear the Most High. You know how the Most High get down, man. Right? Especially like we read about during the time of Noah. Everybody died in the flood, man, except 8 people. That doesn't sound like a God that loves everybody. Babies died. It wasn't just old, nasty, scoffing men that died. Women died. Children died. The animals died. Everything died. And drowning, brothers ever experienced drowning before? Is that something that you want to do again? You would just want to live it out again to see how it feels? No, that's something you never want to go through, man. And you barely making it out of that thing, and you alive to this day. How much more the people that did make it out and suffered till they died, man. So that drowning is horrible. You see the water, you gotta kind of visualize that the water coming up. They was climbing up on trees. They wasn't just sitting there. Here it is. They kind of trying to swim to the ark. They can't swim. They throwing rocks at Noah. I hate you, Noah. Trying to beat down the ship. Climb on top of the ship. Do all types of stuff, man. Climb, run into the mountain, get their family together. Somebody tripped and fell, and the water consumed them. Right till the last man died and gave up the ghost. God, I got something.
God, this is to speak about how angry the Lord is. How everybody think the Lord is all hugs and kisses, right? Right. This is Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 8. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers? Was thy anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea, that thou didst ride upon thy horse and thy chariots of salvation? Right? It's so much destruction that hell gonna be breaking loose. People gonna be. The angels were asking, Lord, are you mad with the water? Why are you destroying the water like that? What the trees do to you, Lord? That's how much destruction is gonna be happening on this earth, man. Right? People coming to this truth think it's games, man. First it's honey, then it's bitter, man. It's like the Sour Patch babies. Right? They sour and they sweet, but it's the opposite, man. It's sweet when you find out that you're the chosen, then you find out you gotta catch hell to get this thing, man. You gotta catch hell. You gotta endure it and you gotta love it, man. Right? Whatever is brought upon you, take cheerfully, man. Right? So the Lord coming back and he making let me read the next verse. Thy bow was made quite naked according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Salah, thou didst cleave the earth with rivers. There's gonna be so much destruction, he's gonna make rivers of blood, man. Right? The Lord said it's gonna be so much blood gonna come to the horse's bridle. You know how tall horses are? Horses about what? 8 feet standing on 4 legs. So the bridle about what? 5 feet, 5.5 feet. That's a lot of blood, man. That's a lot of damn blood that's gonna be covering this earth.
That's right. And we got this a scarf on the comment board, man. Said, wow. And you believe in someone like that? That he knew he was going to kill everyone except 8 people? Think, man. Right? It says, how can you be angry at what you made and know what's going to happen? Laughing emoji, then a side laughing emoji. Right? So he's going to be put to death, man. Right? We're speaking about scoffers, and the Lord had one get a comment board. He didn't start typing. Put in his password. Look at the channel. He don't got nothing else to do, man. Clicked on the channel. It's a long live stream. We're on 40 minutes going on. And he just want to scoff. He's not going to change nobody's mind. He just want to scoff, man. Right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 17. It's a damn shame. Luke 17 and 26. Right? St. Luke, chapter 17 and 26. It reads, and as it... Madness, man. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So not only are you living in the days of Lot, in the days of Noah, you living in the days of Lot, man. Right? Did them Sodomites know that fire and brimstone was going to come from heaven? No, they didn't know what was going on, man. Right? Let me get this precept real quick in Genesis chapter 19. Right? They didn't know what was going on, man. But as soon as Lot got out of there, fire and brimstone came. People's probably guarding it, right? Sodomite probably doing a Sodomite act. All types of wickedness, man. People that get their rocks off, right? People in there planting damn vineyards. Somebody there getting drunk, right? All hell was breaking loose out there, man. Then all of a sudden, the damn sky cracked and his chariots raining fire and brimstone. And there's an old movie, I think it's in the 60s. It's called Sodom and Gomorrah, I believe, man. It might be in the 70s. I'm not sure if brother saw that. You saw that? Yeah, I sent it in the group chat not too long ago. It was a good movie, man, about Sodom and Gomorrah. You brothers should check that out. Of course, they're not going to be Jake. And you're not going to have, but they kind of show you how these people's trying to flee, man. When a city was on fire. That's how it's going to be when all hell breaks loose. Let me get this real quick in Genesis 19. Right, real quick. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 19, and I'm going to read verse, I believe I'm going to start at 12. All right, this is the book of Genesis, so we can get the actual account of what was going down. Genesis chapter 19, and I'm going to start at 12. It reads, "And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters? And whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we," meaning the angels, "will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law." So what happened when Lot was telling them to get out? They were scoffing, man. Lot said the Lord is about to destroy this place. The Lord told Lot to warn them before they get destroyed. The Lord tell us to warn the people before they destroy. So how else does the days of Lot apply? You prophesy and tell them about the destruction, and they scoffing as well. Scoffing. Who is it? Are these Sodomites he's warning? No, these his own people. His own people are scoffing in his face while Lot is prophesying to him, huh? He's seen this one that's mocked like us. I don't believe that, man. You mean to tell me spaceships are going to come? You guys are crazy. Fire is going to come from these places and destroy America, the greatest country ever? Right? You got Jake that say that, man. I'll die for this country, man. I'm a veteran. Veterans, man. BFW, right? That's what they be saying, man. The Lord not dealing with BFW, man. Right? The Lord is about to destroy this city. And if you don't repent, it seems as if we're being mocked, like it was in the days of Noah. Right? Let me finish this real quick. Luke 17 and 29 again. Luke 17 and 29. The same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Right? Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. And that day he which shall be upon the housetop and is stuff in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Remember Lot's wife. Remember Lot's wife, man. Right? What happened to Lot's wife by show of hand? So why did the Lord say, remember Lot's wife? Show of hand.
Don't look back.
Don't look back at what? Hold on, show of hand.
Don't look back at your old man.
Don't look back at old man. What else you not looking back at? Well, not necessarily. You said what? She returned to her old vomit.
Sin and past ways.
All your past ways, all your sins, all the wickedness, this place, America, the life that they promote. She's only looking back because she missed out on something. The Lord not telling you what it was. It could have been, she might have had like a side hustle. She could have had like a garden. She could have had nice furniture. We don't know. Could have lived well off. She wasn't looking back to see, oh man, Most High destroyed the city. Destroy. Come, Yesha. She wasn't thinking like that. She looked back and said, oh no. oh man, my belongings, right? My business, my place. I'm the sodomites. Let's show you her mind wasn't right. Because you know how much wickedness is going on? You got these sodomites dealing with each other. Oh, and that's what she worried about. Right? See that? She looked back. Hey, did Lot look back when his wife looked back? Lot kept it moving. Right? Probably heard her crumble. You could probably hear her turn to a pillar of salt. Kind of crack open, then split open, and the wind destroyed. Lot said, I gotta keep it going. Right? So that's how the days of Lot apply. So you're gonna have people that's looking back at this thing. You can't look back in the days of Lot, right? Your wife might be looking back. I'm not looking back as you looking back. Your children might be looking back. These are the days of Lot, man. You prophesying, people scoffing, people building, people planting, but fire and brimstone will destroy this place.
God, that fire and brimstone wasn't just setting people on fire, man. It was cracking skulls, smushing people, right? Turning people into dust, man. It was bad, man. It was bad, right? Imagine a rock falling on your head from the sky, right? It was the size of a building, man. People be sleeping on that Sodom and Gomorrah destruction, right? This is Jude verse 7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner giving themselves over to fornication. Right? It wasn't just Sodom and Gomorrah, it was 5 cities, man. Yep. It was 5 cities that got destroyed in like manner, man. Right? Giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh and set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Right? This is the example that's coming to Babylon, man. Everybody should understand what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, man. The Lord destroyed that with such destruction. We're still talking about this thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Right? It's a documentary. Oh, go ahead, Ken. Yeah, it's a documentary. Right? And some Edomites went over to the land where Sodom and Gomorrah was, and they started testing the soil. They was like, man, this ain't from earth. Right? Whatever did this came not from earth, man. Like you can't even get anything out of the soil. It's uninhabitable.
Yeah, quick point. Yeah, they say that the so-called sulfur content was so high, it is literally impossible for that to be done on the earth. But they're just saying maybe it was a bad day that day. Mother Nature had a bad day, and then Mother Nature erupted a volcano, and guess what? It is what it is. We put it in the textbook. That's what they believe.
Yeah. That's sickening, man. That was thousands of years ago, and it's still like that to this day, man. Right. That's crazy. Verse 8. Likewise, also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil dignities. Right? Those are scoffers. They speak evil dignities, man. Right? These principalities, man, that are set up from old, man. They speak evil of these things, man. Right? These are the same. This is the same example and same destruction that's coming to them, man. So, brothers, prepare yourselves, man. Y'all gonna see more depth than y'all ever seen in video games, movies. Right? And we don't play Call of Duty our whole lives, man. Right? What else, man? All the Max Payne, right? Grand Theft Auto. Right? We done killed a lot of people in video games, man. You're gonna see way more depth than you can even imagine, man. You're gonna see hundreds of thousands die by your left hand side, hundreds of thousands die by your right hand side, but none of that's gonna come nigh to you if you keeping the faith, you keeping the commandments, man. You part of the elect, right? So pray that you that your sins may be forgiven in these last days, man. Everybody should be praying that every day, every night, that the Lord have mercy on you, man. Because when the Lord's mercy run out, and we see you in the afterlife when you're born in the kingdom again.
That's right. That's the spirit that the young lion shirt says it's about to get messy, man.
Hey.
That's the spirit. It's about to get messy out here, man. It's about to get real bad. Right? I want to get the quick precept to show that it was actually 5 cities that was destroyed. A lot of people think it was just Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 6. It's like in chapter 10 and verse 6. Right? It reads, when the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man, who fled from the fire which fell down upon 5 cities, of whose wickedness even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt as a monument of an unbelieving soul. Meaning, if you don't believe that the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, the pillar of salt is still there to this day, right? You can look up Lot's wife in the pillar of salt, and they show you the exact location where she became a pillar of salt. I don't believe in the Bible. All right, well, look at the pillar of salt. That's a monument the Lord is saying to a scoffer who don't believe. To an unbelieving soul, go there and see if you can plant a garden. Go ahead and try. Do your best, man. Resurrect the Garden of Eden where the Lord destroyed the Sodom and Gomorrah. You see that? See that? That's a monument to an unbelieving soul. To this day, she remains a testimony for anybody that wants to look back. Right? You're going to be destroyed by fire and brimstone. The Lord not going to turn the 2/3 to pillars of stones. They're going to be cut off from the face of the earth. Right? So you have these 5 cities that got destroyed. Let me read that again. It reads, when the ungodly perished, she, meaning wisdom, delivered the righteous man. Right? What made Lot wise? He was keeping the commandments. Right? He believed and hearkened to the Lord. It reads, Salakia, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities, of whose wickedness, even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony. That's how America is going to be. A wasteland that's smoking. Right? A desert country. And plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument to an unbelieving soul. And I want to get this in Genesis chapter 13 as well, to get brothers the names of these 5 cities. Right? Let's go to Genesis 13 and verse 9. Actually, Genesis 13. I'm going to read 9. It reads, it's not the whole, so yeah, Abram and Lot, they herdsmen was striking. They had so much wealth that they couldn't live together. Right? They was taking up like entire cities with the wealth that they had, so they had to separate. Right? I'm going to read 8, Genesis 13 and 8. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. It's not the whole land before thee. Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou would take the left hand, I will go to the right. Or if thou depart from the right hand, I will go to the left. He let him choose because Abraham knew that the Most High was going to deal with him regardless. Right?
The cities.
Yeah, I'm about to read. Come. It reads, and Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and that it was well watered there, everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like unto the land of Egypt, as thou comest into Zoar. Right? And Lot chose him. Actually, it's not what I wanted, so we might as well get that. Then Lot chose from all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east and separated themselves the one from the other. Right? Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and Lot pitched his tent towards Sodom. Now, quick point. In Genesis 19, where was Lot living? No, he was living where? Inside of Sodom and Gomorrah. Was he just a regular man?
No,
Yeah, he was one of the, he sat at the gates. He was one of the judges of Sodom and Gomorrah. How did Lot go from pitching his tent on the outside of Sodom to living in Sodom? Right? What does that teach you? Hey man, you get enticed. You understand? You getting enticed. He got seduced. Now he living in Sodom, man. He went from pitching his tent on the outside, and now he's inside of Sodom, man. And guess what happened? All hell break loose, man. You can't pitch your tents towards Sodom, man. You can't come close to sin. You can't come close to wickedness, man. The Lord said, flee from sinners from the face of the serpent. Lot should have had no business even being near Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Because he got a Lord, and now he's in there, inside of that wicked city, man. Right?
God. And these are the 5 cities right here. It was Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zebulun, and Zorah.
God.
Right? Go ahead, Ken.
This is Genesis 14.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got to bring it. All praise. This Genesis. I'm gonna read 14 and 2. Then I'm gonna jump to 8. This Genesis chapter 14 and 2. These made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinar, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. Right? Well, I'm gonna just read that. Those are the 5 kings. of Sodom, right? It was a pentapolis, 5 kings. Those are the names of the 5 cities that got destroyed. One city Lot fled to. What city did Lot flee to? Zoar. They ended up going to a cave, right? So you have these 5 cities that the Lord destroyed, right? You can look up the location around the Dead Sea, right, where they lived at. So you living in these same days, man.
Back to 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter,